You're doing all of the healthy habits. You're working on your limiting beliefs. You are ready to up-level your life. You're ready to hit your goals, achieve your goals, and live that dream, successful life that you've wanted. But you're kind of questioning, are my symptoms related to unresolved trauma? And by the end of this video, you're going to be able to identify and understand if some of the symptoms that you're experiencing are actually a result of unresolved, unhealed, or unprocessed trauma in the brain. I'm going to explain to you how the brain kind of experiences trauma and how the body has symptoms that are telling you your trauma has not been processed and it needs to be healed in order for you to feel really safe and regulated as you're on this journey for more success. If that's something you want to learn more about, stay tuned till the end of the video to see exactly all the steps you can take to start healing and processing your trauma so it feels safe for you to live that lavish abundance lifestyle. Let's get started. When you experience trauma, what happens is your brain is trying to keep you safe. So a lot of times, if you've ever experienced trauma, you have very little memories, but you start to notice things will change physically for you. And I'm going to go over an entire list, but you'll start to see things that you used to be able to do easily, you are not able to do. And if you have childhood trauma, this might be your baseline and you have no idea that these symptoms are not supposed to be there. And what I mean that they're not supposed to be there is that your body needs to have a baseline of regulation. And when our baseline is stress, anxiety, or depression, we are operating at a level that is no longer sustainable, which is why we experience fatigue, burnout. We want to just disconnect from the entire world. It's because our body is constantly working at overtime. Our nervous system is so dysregulated. So a nervous system is basically our body's and brain communication line. So how our brain and our body communicate is through our nervous system. And our nervous system is basically our one-way Morse code to say we're in danger or we're safe. And once you've experienced trauma, and if you've experienced multiple traumas, you'll have what's called complex PTSD, where you've experienced multiple traumas. The brain gets very sensitive and will start to perceive anything even similar to be a traumatic or perceived threat. And so I've got this beautiful little chart here. So our brain is broken up into three parts. We've got our frontal lobe, our thinking brain. We've got our limbic system. This is where our emotional or memories are at. And this is our brainstem. This controls heart rate, breathing, all of that. When we experience danger, when we experience trauma, our brain's smoke detector gets more sensitive, which is basically what is connecting to our nervous system. Our nervous system is getting data, it's getting feedback, sending it to our amygdala, and our amygdala is either communicating to the frontal lobe, shut down, activate the brainstem, which is going to change your heart rate, change your breathing, change all of these things that your body needs to function. So you, the traumatized individual, we all have trauma, so I'm here to normalize it. Your amygdala is way more sensitive. And so you might be believing that your day-to-day symptoms are just like who you are, but it's actually because your amygdala is way more sensitive. And because it's more sensitive, your brain is constantly perceiving everything as dangerous. The emails, the text messages, getting the red lights, having someone not say hi to you that normally says hi to you, and your brain's like something is happening. So your brain is constantly trying to perceive things as, is it safe or unsafe? And when we have unresolved trauma, our brain smoke detector is even more sensitive than normal. And when our unresolved trauma, all that means is the body has not processed the trauma. And here's information for you to really hold on to. You do not need to remember your trauma in order to heal it. And that is a huge misconception in the trauma world, is that you have to relive every memory. You have to highlight it. You don't have to do that. You actually do not have to do that. We just have to consistently regulate your nervous system so that anything that feels perceived threat or danger, we can ground and regulate. So it starts to shrink the amount of triggers, allowing you to expand to step into that version of you who's super successful. Let's say you want to work the corporate ladder, you want to work the entrepreneur ladder, you want to work content creation, influencer. When your brain is more sensitive, those become so much more difficult to maintain and stick with. And when your amygdala and your nervous system are more regulated, doing those difficult, stressful things are easier. And there's a lot of misconception that if your nervous system is regulated, it's like you're on the beach drinking margaritas without a care in the world. And that's not really the goal. The goal is for you to be able to handle stressful situations without it knocking you out, without it totally derailing your efforts and your goals. So let's go over some of the symptoms that you might be experiencing that are signs and signals that your trauma that you're working through is not fully processed or fully healed. So again, we've got this beautiful chart, and I'm just going to go through all of them and give examples. So again, trauma survivors have symptoms instead of memories. You might not have a lot of memories from childhood. You might not have a lot of memories of the traumatic event, but your body is telling you there is some things going on. So our body communicates through symptoms. So the first one we will start to experience is depression. Things that used to light you up, things that you had so much interest in, you're like, why bother? Eeyore syndrome. Irritability, you're more irritable. You feel like you're on edge and people are like, ooh, you're really prickly to be around. Loss of interest, maybe your favorite show, you like immediately get the ick and you're like, I don't like this, I'm over it. Numbing. It's where like nothing brings you joy, nothing brings you sadness. It's almost like you're flatlined, just like so numb. Decreased concentration. This is a huge one where people believe it's, oh, if I had better concentration, if I wasn't so lazy, if I was more motivated, if I was more dedicated or driven. No, this is a trauma symptom. Decreased concentration when you're unable to focus for long periods of time is a symptom of unresolved trauma. Insomnia, if you're noticing patterns of changes in your sleep, you're waking up every single day at 3 a.m., unresolved trauma. Emotional overwhelm, if you're crying during commercials, people are telling you stories and you're getting really overwhelmed easily, emotional overwhelm. Loss of sense of future, hopelessness. This one is huge. If you believe that things will never get better, you believe all this inner work that you're doing, this healing, this up-leveling, it doesn't matter, you're just going to get the same. Your body is trying to tell you that the trauma you have was so bad that you could never believe you would be worthy of something even better. Shame and worthlessness. This is huge, especially in any role, right? Corporate role, entrepreneurship, content creation. You don't feel worthy and you have an immense amount of shame. That if I would have what I wanted, I would have been worthy. I don't have it, therefore I'm not worthy. And this shame, like who am I to want more? Little or no memories. This is a huge one. Again, trauma survivors have symptoms instead of memories. Nightmares and flashbacks. When you get glimpses of your trauma and nightmares, when your brain is like more quiet, you'll start to experience that. Hypervigilance or mistrust. This one is so huge. Let's say you're living with someone and they walk in a room and you're not expecting them and then you get all startled. Definitely a sign of unresolved trauma. Generalized anxiety or even panic attacks. So if you're noticing that your anxiety is getting more worse, or you just can't get below that like baseline chronic anxiety or even low-grade anxiety, definitely a sign of unresolved trauma. Chronic pain and headaches. The Body Keeps the Score is a huge trauma book that talks about how your body is absorbing emotions, and trapped emotions in your body manifest as headache and chronic pain. Substance abuse and eating disorders. And I'm going to go over a whole video on how we use food, alcohol, shopping to cope with the trauma symptoms. So be on the lookout for that. Feeling unreal or out of your body, feeling like you're a fly watching your life pass you by versus being in your body. Self-destructive behavior. You're about to get that promotion, your video goes viral, all of these things, and all of a sudden you self-sabotage. You stop doing your healthy habits. You stop doing all the things you know you need to do to be successful. And loss of sense. Who am I? This is such a huge one when I'm doing trauma work with clients. They're like, I don't know who I am. I don't know who my authentic self is. And we always reference the story of Emma Watson. She was like, am I Hermione or am I Emma Watson? Does Hermione like this or do I like this? And it's this really fear and uncertainty of who I am. This is a huge list. And if you resonated with anything on this list, that is your body trying to tell you, hey, we've got unresolved trauma. Let's work through it and let's heal it. So what you can do is you can start to create what's called a peace list. In any of the traumatic memories that you can recall, you can make a list that I want to make peace with these memories and then choose your favorite modality to heal it. EFT tapping, hypnosis, EMDR, breath work, working with a provider, you can choose to heal that. You know me, my favorite modality is a combination of EFT tapping and EMDR, and all of my programs infuse the two. And if you're ready to start your trauma healing journey, join the tapping studio where you can get that support on the go. They're all under 10 minutes, designed to regulate, ground, and get you ready for that next level of regulation so you can keep embodying and stepping into that next level of success. So you pick your favorite modality, and then what you do is you constantly are regulating your body. And the goal is to regulate your body so you can handle more abundance, more success, more joy, more happiness. You already know how to handle worst case scenario. You already know how to handle when things are bad, when things are terrible. Your nervous system does not know how to handle things getting even better. And that's when you start to activate this list of self-destruction, you name it. So again, healing your trauma allows you to call in more love, success, and abundance, and also allows you to release these symptoms that are holding you back from living that life that you know you are meant for. And after you've identified your peace list and using those healing modalities, in a few weeks, you will start to see these symptoms decrease. And a lot of times this can really trigger your nervous system for fear and uncertainty because you don't feel like you're in control. And that's why it's really important that you have a toolkit of regulation tools to help your nervous system stay regulated. So that's why I really recommend joining the tapping library. So it's going to help you every step of the way of your healing journey. So when we start to propel towards releasing these symptoms, sometimes the brain is like, oh, I've never had this much ease or peace. And it'll start to cling to those symptoms and amplify it. And that way, if you have some type of tool or toolkit that you can go back to, it's going to help you move through and constantly heal. So that way we can activate the brain and the nervous system at the same time for this healing work. So if any of this resonated, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. And I'd love to have you be a part of the tapping studio. You can join down below. It's only $22 to jumpstart your healing journey so you can release and heal these symptoms in real time. And I will catch you in the next video.